In my PJs, about to talk to you guys, talk about some real shit. We're in the corner of my room. Who missed it? I kind of missed it. It might not be the longest of a video diary, this is video diary part 3. Wow. I don't think I've done a series that's like been this long actually, except for like hauls, which I have a whole playlist of all of my hauls, which I will make a playlist of my video diary since now I have 3, so, you know, if you haven't seen the other ones, then you can go watch those. You know, this is gonna be a real fucking video for you guys because, you know, I'm in my PJs, I didn't do my hair, I have no makeup on, and I feel really comfortable. And I feel really lucky that you guys are so cool and that I can just feel comfortable being so natural. So, without getting like judgment or hate or any of that shit, because a lot of people on YouTube are really terrified to show who they are because of all the backlash that comes with it, which is just sad. That's not really what I wanted to talk about, but, you know, it's a thing that was going on in my brain, so I told you. Also, I dyed my hair last night. I guess if you don't follow me, this is gonna bother me. I guess if you don't follow me on other social media, then you wouldn't know. I dyed my hair again because it was really light and I wanted to try and make it like a little bit more vibrant so then I didn't have to keep on dyeing it. So I did an Arctic Fox color dye and I think it was in virgin pink, so I will leave a link down below. I think it was like 16 bucks. I'm pretty happy with it. It's a lot darker than I was expecting. Look at this craziness. Let me pull you guys in a little closer because I feel like you guys are really far away. Today's topic for this video diary. I posted a picture today. I'll put it right here so you guys can see. Wow, cute, right? So it's a side-by-side comparison of me like kind of, you know, very like posed in a way where I am clenching my abs and I'm sucking in and everything, sucking in my stomach, and then the one right next to it is me just completely relaxed. I never would have posted that kind of photo in the past, and I think that says a lot. I think that says a lot about my journey of self-love, and I'm really proud of that. I didn't really ever think that I would get to that point where I'm so comfortable, and I'm so comfortable with my online family, and I feel really fortunate. But yeah, I just received so much love and I felt really great about it, and I just wanted to share that. But at the same time, I think I mentioned this a little bit ago, but I've been going through a little bit of like what is it considered? It is, because I never really put a label on how I used to feel, but I was looking it up last night and I found, looking at my phone, I found kind of more info on like, I was always confused with body dysmorphia and body dysphoric feeling. I don't know if that's correct, sorry. But body dysmorphia, it's defined right here. It is an anxiety disorder that causes a person to have a distorted view of how they look and to spend a lot of time worrying about their appearance. For example, they may be convinced that like a barely visible scar is a major flaw that everyone is staring at, or that their nose looks abnormal. So for me, a large part of my life, I felt very anxious about the fact that my stomach was large. And compared to some people, which you should never compare yourself to others, compared to some people, they would say, wow, your stomach is so flat. But it doesn't really have to do about comparing myself with other people. It had to do with how I felt. And I felt like my stomach was very large, and I felt like people were staring at it all the time. And I was really worried about like if I looked fat in certain clothes, or if my stomach looked big, or you know, just like to an unhealthy level, like every single second of the day. I remember pretty much every single day like sitting down in class and just constantly trying to fix my shirt or fix my dress or whatever because I just felt so uncomfortable. It was in certain contexts where if I was standing, I felt a lot more comfortable because I could kind of like, you know, suck in a little bit more, and I was, you know, telling myself that I was giving like an ab workout, kind of like clenching those muscles and releasing them and everything. But when you're sitting, it's not as easy to kind of suck in all the time, and it's really uncomfortable. Like, it's not something that you should be doing all day. So that kind of, I never got diagnosed if I have body dysmorphia, but I'm pretty sure it's like spot on with that. Still go through stuff like that. It's changing as I get older, so I feel a lot more comfortable with my stomach now, even though it's bigger than it used to be, which kind of shows that it is mental. It's not actually how I was physically. Now I kind of see how it's progressed and how like it's changed. Not so much progressed, changed. Now I have more issues when it comes to like my double chin. It is an insecurity of mine. It's not to the extent that it used to be where I would worry about how other people are seeing my double chin. Some days it looks like really intense to me, and it's just like a, you know, it's a hard day. And then some days I don't think about it at all. No, it's just a give and take kind of thing. Sometimes I struggle with how my arms look. I used to wear a lot of cardigans and just cover up my arms all the time. But now, like, I can't really be fussed to care, but it does have its ups and downs, just like anything. And I think that's important to say, because a lot of people think that it's just like an on and off switch when it comes to self-love, and it's not. It's really not. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of just, you know, self-awareness to recognize how your mind is working against you. And I like to talk on Snapchat sometimes and, you know, share my thoughts on this kind of stuff as I'm feeling throughout the day. And what I kind of was talking about the other day was that you aren't your negative thoughts. You can have these negative thoughts, but they're not really you. They're working against you. And that's not your fault, but you also need to recognize that and take that as, okay, I'm feeling this way right now, but that's not how I'm gonna feel all the time, and that's really hard to do. And there's definitely triggers to it as well, which I mentioned. You know, a lot of my life I spent comparing myself to other people, and when you're around different people, it kind of shifts. It kind of is like on a scale where you feel comfortable and sometimes you feel uncomfortable with certain people, and that has to do with how negative or how positive that person is towards you. I went on my trip with my sister and we spent the whole week together, and she's much smaller to me. She's very fit. A lot of my life I spent like comparing me and her, and I remember hearing as a kid like that there's like the ugly sister and the pretty sister, and so I literally thought I was the ugly sister, and that's just freaking ridiculous. That like how is that a thing? But yeah, I definitely felt triggered at certain times when I was, you know, getting ready with my sister, and, you know, we would be talking or whatever, or I would compare how much I was eating to how much she was eating, or I would look at how she looks compared to how I look, and that I could recognize my thoughts, and I could recognize that they were becoming negative, and I could stop myself from feeling that way. I could stop myself. And you don't have to stop them. You can recognize them, and that can make them stop altogether. Or you can recognize, this is how I'm feeling in this moment, but this is not how I'm going to be feeling forever. Because those are very two different things. Just, I don't know if that's coming, like, if that's coming across the way I want it to, but sometimes when I was younger, I would feel like this is how I'm gonna feel for the rest of my life. And having that state of permanent was just crushing to me. It was so heart-wrenching to me to know, to think that this is how I'm gonna feel for the rest of my life. Now, looking back on it, I only felt like that. It was hard, but I only felt like that for a very short time in my whole life when you're looking at the bigger picture. I still wish that I hadn't had to go through it, but I do think it's made me a lot stronger in, you know, like how I deal with things now. It feels really good to talk about this kind of stuff and kind of share my opinions on things. Even as somebody who feels a lot more comfortable, I think that it's just so important to have people around you that are sharing these topics, that are sharing how they feel so that you don't have to feel alone. So I hope that helps. I hope that in some way, at least this is thought-provoking, or it can help you. You know, if this makes you feel less alone, I'm so happy that it does. I would say one of the biggest downsides of everything I've gone through and all of my body dysmorphia is that it makes it very difficult for me to receive love. I have to be an active participant in receiving people's love and kind of just kind words in general. Now I receive a lot of love online, and I receive a lot of just positivity, which I've always been very open to positivity, but not so much love or admiration. I was talking about this with my coworker, and you know, it was just a very casual conversation, but it did make me think. And so basically she was saying, you know, we work at a painting studio, so a lot of us kind of encourage each other when it comes to painting. She is an actual artist and, like, you know, is very good at what she does. And me and my coworker were like, oh, that looks so good, blah, blah, blah. We were like really like impressed with what she had done. And she was all like, you know, sometimes I just think you guys are just complimenting me because I'm old. And I was like, you know, that's how I feel sometimes too. Like when I show something to my coworkers and then they're like, oh, it looks so good. And I was like, you know, I think that's because we're not really good at getting complimented. And it's true. I'm horrible at receiving compliments. I never know how to react. I mean, I think it's great that somebody is complimenting me. But for so much of my life, I believed that it was not genuine. I believed that they were pitying me and that I didn't really deserve their admiration. I didn't deserve it. And that's really horrible. I want to work on that more because I think it will make me a better communicator. Don't get me wrong, I love to give compliments to other people. I think it's one of my favorite things to do is to like see somebody's face light up because you just made their day, and I love that. On the receiving end, I'm horrible. Like I mean, I try sometimes, but most of the time I just don't know what to say. It kind of depends on the subject, but I guess if it came to my personal like self, like how I look, a lot of the times I get complimented in person about like my makeup or something, or my hair, or something like that. But or my outfit. That's pretty common. But as for my physical features, I don't know how to respond to somebody telling me, you're very beautiful, or you're gorgeous, or, you know, like something like that. It's hard. It's hard to receive those compliments because for so long I thought that they were just making fun of me. So those are some thoughts that I had today. I hope you guys enjoyed this, you know, video diary part 3. I'm really happy that this is like a thing. If you have like any topics you would like me to talk about in these video diaries, let me know down below, and like this video so I know to make more of these. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, you can go ahead and do that. Find out when I'm making new videos. I love you guys so much, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Bye.